Hi, I'm Mika, and I'm feeling meh.
I'm Becca, and I'm feeling content.
And this is All You Can Feel, your weekly fangirl fix where you can feel it all with your friends. That's us. We're your friends. Could you guess? Technical difficulties.
It's like part of our brand, apparently.
Apparently. Bangers.
Go listen to my scene, Jammin in Jamaica soundtrack.
If anybody... That's what we learned from Jammin in Jamaica.
Only from Jammin in Jamaica. In fact, it is the reason that we are here today as friends.
Yeah. Forget about all the other stuff. We're talking about friendships today. So, yes, welcome. We had planned a different topic for this episode. Then we quickly decided to pivot. Oh, I hate that word. I don't want to say pivot. We decided to swerve. So we swerved.
Swerve.
Originally, we were going to talk about the anatomy of a good summer movie. But honestly, I haven't watched a good summer movie in a while. So
we're not exactly experts on it at the moment.
Instead, we're going to be sharing about a movie that I feel that I'm an expert of, which is my scene Jammin in Jamaica, which will kind of work in tandem with our other topic for this episode, which is to kind of dive into who we are, because I realized that we just kind of went into Bridgerton season 3. I mean, can you blame us? It was that bad.
We had to talk about it.
Without talking about who we are. We kind of archived a lot of our old episodes, so yeah, we figured this was a good place to reintroduce ourselves.
I was a pretty lonely internet child. When I hit 13 years old, I got the computer for the first time, or maybe a little younger, like 11. And one of the first things I did when I found a computer was look for an anime community, which was because all I had were my friends at middle school, and we had little forum boards, and I needed more friends. So I found Gaia Online and existed there for like 7 years or something. And near the latter half of Gaia, that is where I met this girl right here. And we bonded over manga.
As you do when you're like young and
yes,
kind of unsure of yourself.
We bonded over manga and expanded.
Yes. I joined in, I think 2008. No, maybe 2007. No, I'm pretty sure it was 2008. 2007, I was still on Quizilla, if anyone remembers Quizilla.
Oh my gosh, rest in peace, Quizilla.
Quizilla and some other website. I started because my friend at the time, my best friend at the time, whose name was also Rebecca, but she went by Becky, she actually introduced me to Gaia because I think her brother was on it and he was in high school. And it was just, I guess the appeal initially for me was, oh, you get to dress up this little avatar.
Right.
And then I think I started off talking to people in like the different chat rooms, because at the time you could talk to people in little virtual movie theaters, or there was this one feature where you could talk during, it wasn't a garage, it was like a parking lot.
Yeah, like the auto.
Yeah, and the towns. So like you could kind of talk to people. It was kind of like Club Penguin, but not. And then I discovered the forum aspect of it, where you could post about your different interests, but also, it's so funny, I'm like holding this like it's actually a microphone. I'm holding a pom-pom, but I'm not.
It looks like it could be.
Right? Yeah, and then I discovered that you could roleplay. And for those of you who are uninitiated into what roleplay is, you basically take on either an original character, or often what we do is we take characters from other pieces of work that we really love, like TV show characters or manga characters at the time, and you write for them. I don't know how to explain it. Like, you write in the third person in their perspective and have them interact with other people's characters.
It's like fanfic, but collaborative.
Yes, it's like collaborative fanfic and like live fan fictioning.
Yes.
Live fic writing. And it's really fun. Well, I was really lonely at the time too. Like, I wasn't allowed to leave my house in the summer because my mom had started working. She originally just stayed at home with us. So I wasn't able to hang out with my friends in the neighborhood anymore. And instead I had to just look after my brother and do like math exercises before I got on the computer. And so a lot of my time was just spent on Gaia because I was like, well, I can talk to people and I can escape reality. So
yep. That's the core of it. We wanted to escape.
We wanted to escape our reality. And
that's why we're here.
Each other. Yeah, that's why we're here, so that we can escape reality together. And yeah, we started off just talking in DMs on Gaia, and then that moved.
They were called PMs back then.
PMs at the time. Private messages. It feels so weird to say DMs for Gaia because I'm like, that's not right. It was PMs. We were in PMs. Yeah. And then we moved on to MSN. And then we moved on to
Skype.
We were on AIM for a while, right?
We were, and then MSN, then Skype.
It was MSN and then Facebook.
Oh,
Skype and then Skype. Skype was during a terrible time. Yeah, and then Facebook again. And we were on Discord briefly, and then some Becca Mika lore. We broke up as friends.
That's the thumbnail. We broke up.
We broke up, and then we stopped being friends for like a few months. And then we went back to Messenger and restarted a server, because originally we had a server, and then, spoiler alert, I have BPD, and I destroyed our initial server, so yeah.
The way there's still remnants of that, in that I'm the admin of our server.
Yeah, there are remnants but that was from August 2020, which like we've had this server since 2018 now, but because of how I am in BPD, where I'm like very impulsive sometimes, I have been revoked of admin access.
It's not bad now. I feel when you were really much younger.
When I was younger, it was horrible, and then in 2020, it was like terrible, obviously, for world reasons and personal reasons.
It's a hard year.
It was a really hard year, and so I think it was like after that one time in August that it was like, okay, I need you to like take me out, basically. Bench me, coach.
Bench me. Yeah, but we've been friends for a long time, and from the very beginning, it was a core thing of our friendship was fandom. Because we were like the only two people in existence apparently that liked this manga. Which we would do an episode on that, but none of you would know what it is. So.
But I kind of want to. I'm like, do you guys
we might do that
because it's crazy that it was only 4 volumes long, and it remains a huge influence on me.
I know,
and our friendship. So it's just so funny how like, and also it's just very kooky, like the way that certain things transpired when you look back on it. I mean, that's true for any shoujo manga. I like manga. I reverted to my middle school. But yeah, we've moved from like Mirapuri to like obviously Marvel. If you're coming on here, you
Marvel
probably know
was
that
the big one.
We talk about Marvel a lot. Vampire Diaries, Teen Wolf, other pieces of media.
We go through a lot of like we'll engage the show, but it's usually really short, and so it has like a period of time that we really invest in it.
Yeah. I would say that the main tenets of our channels right now on Discord kind of revolve around like Marvel for sure, DC Marvel, because we really love DC as well. And then anything to do with like the Vampire Diaries, like supernatural stuff, and then slice of life things like Gilmore Girls, or I would even venture to put Challengers in there. So
Challengers is the most recent addition to
slice of life.
to our very chill slice of life category.
Which we also put some of procedurals in because we're also really into procedurals.
Yeah, we do like a procedural. It's like I wouldn't say it's a guilty pleasure. Are we pleased about it? I don't know, but we do enjoy a good crime show.
We do. Criminal Minds.
Criminal Minds.
Lifelong fan of Criminal Minds.
Lately, we've been revisiting some childhood favorites, which is really nice for the topic of this episode. She's got me watching Martin Mysteries, which has been really fun. I'm still on season 1 though, but it's definitely a fun time. And I'm also like, why didn't I watch this when I was a kid? I don't know.
Well, because you're a little older, so I don't know if that was... Well, to be honest, like...
Not that much older for like a show like that. It depends on when it came out. Because I was watching the Disney Channel until I was about 15 years old.
Okay, so then you could have been watching Martin Mystery. But
actually, I watched Disney Channel later than that.
Martin Mystery is like Canadian. So
yeah, that's the big thing.
That might be it.
I don't think it was really airing. I think I saw that it was on Nickelodeon, but I don't even know if that's true.
Well, you didn't even really watch Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I only watched it. Yeah, I only watched it casually when it like random episodes are on, and it was usually season 1.
Right. It was just lost to you at the time.
Why would I watch cartoons on Nickelodeon when I could go on Disney Channel and watch Hannah Montana? That was my life back then.
Yeah.
Sweet Life and Hannah Montana.
I did not have Disney. This is like a part of my lore. I didn't have Disney Channel growing up, but it is awkward whenever people talk about like Life with Derek or things that like are kind of like up there for early Gen Z, late millennial, mid to late millennial pop culture references. Like I don't get, and most of the time it's fine, but sometimes it gets on my nerves when people are like, oh my god, you've never watched this?
Never watched?
Let me show you the world, you poor innocent soul. Like it kind of grates on my nerves a little bit. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like I know I missed out, but I also still led a life.
Also, like if you wanted to watch it now, you could. You don't have to.
Right.
But you could.
Right. I did try watching Boy Meets World. One time in college. One time. And I was like,
oh man.
All right. Moving on.
Because this is Becca lore now. Boy Meets World used to be one of my favorite shows growing up. And then I rewatched it again and I was like, I think this isn't holding up as well as I liked, but I still love it. And then I rewatched it again years later and I was like, I watched the whole show and I was like, did I enjoy it? It just ages worse and worse with the exception of a few characters and a few things. Yeah. Sean, I love you. That's it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Friends. Like, and I didn't even really grow up with Friends. I just watched it when I was really homesick in college. And now when I can't even really fully rewatch the whole show because Ross, he annoyed me back then, but he annoys me even more now.
Yeah.
I'm a Rachel Joey girl. Sorry to everybody out there who's like, Ross and
Rachel love Rachel Joey in this house.
This is too much millennial talk. I need to like, we need to move on.
We need to hone it in.
We need to pull back a little bit. But I also really love The Office. I'm just going to like list things that make me more millennial.
That's what you get for being on a cusp.
I am on a cusp. Although yesterday, because I was pitching myself, because right now I'm doing freelancing, and I pitched myself to an editor, and they were looking for specifically like young Gen Z and millennial writers. And so I had to Google what year like fell under which category. And apparently it's widely accepted that 1997 is like the beginning of Gen Z. And I felt
like
utterly
the very
betrayed.
beginning, right?
Yeah, I felt utterly betrayed because before it used to be that 1997 was kind of in this limbo state of like, are they millennial? Are they not? Now it's like, no, we are Gen Z. And I kind of hate that because I'm like, no, I identify
You're definitely a cusp.
Yeah, I identify a lot with like millennial things like Harry Potter. We don't have to go into that.
Millennial things until she wants to make fun of me being millennial and then she's Gen Z.
But that's the funnest part about being on the cusp is that I get to decide, like...
You get to choose.
Which is why when I pitched myself, I said, I'm a Gen Z sun and a millennial moon.
Hey, it works.
I don't know what I am rising. Alpha rising? Probably not. I'm too old for that.
I don't think so.
They scare me. Those children scare me.
They're intense.
Yeah, I used to be a camp leader, and generation scares me. I also have younger cousins who are Gen Alpha. They're the most cutthroat children I've ever come across. It actually scares me. I don't know how much more I can say. It scares me. Like they
I'm getting this sensation, this feeling that it scares
that
you.
it scares that I'm a little frightened because
Yeah,
they're
that you're a little
so
scared.
they can be really they lack a filter. And
Yeah.
it can be a good thing in that it's really funny. Like that's great for the internet, but it also leaves me unsettled. That's another way to say it scares me. Because it's like I wonder how they're gonna move throughout the world and navigate relationships like that, being so blunt, I'll say. Yeah.
Yeah. They've got to learn kind of both like a multitude of how to communicate with people.
Yeah, I guess that's why I'm not a parent right now. I mean, among the other reasons why I'm not a parent, there's quite a few.
Being, there's enough reasons. Same for me.
Yeah, living at home, not having the money.
Don't have any money.
I would prefer having a partner for that, but I'm also
not necessary, but
not necessary. But I would prefer. I guess we could talk a little bit about. I want to say the movie, but I'm also like, could we segue into it? We've been friends for a long time, and so we were growing up together, which means that, you get really heated. So it makes sense that, like, we had a lot of high points of tension. I would say that we get less petty conflicts now. When we were younger, I feel like it was so serious. Even though it was unserious.
I'm trying to think of one that would have been from a long time ago, and I'm not. It's hard to pick up on it because, like, it was serious, but it also was
unserious.
So in my head, I'm like, we're healed. We don't have to revisit it.
That's another thing about Becca is that I'm the one who remembers everything, and then she's like. I feel like this is like the podcast where everyone's gonna be like, she's a monster.
I would hope not. Let's be clear, no one in here is a monster.
Yeah, sorry, that was my shadow self.
Yeah, your shadow self haunting the
haunting the chat.
I'm calling the stream. Haunting the stream. What do you feel isn't as significant?
Isn't
like that it doesn't like that it like now it feels a little less serious after time.
Okay, so this is why I'm like, ooh, people are gonna be like, is she like okay?
We've already prefaced this.
I've already said I have borderline.
We're good. We are friends. We're healed.
I've sought treatment. I'm trying to like
let's be clear too. Just before we dive into this, for anybody listening, I think that it's really important when you care about someone and love someone to be able to work through your conflict and recognize that it's not one person carrying a conflict. Usually, sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes it do be.
So for us, there's like, has there been conflict? Yes. Has some of it been a little silly? Yes. But we work through it because I love her and she loves me.
Stop. That made me uncomfortable. Okay. I love you.
I love you.
For borderline, a lot of it has to do with, at least for me, it manifests into abandonment issues, and part of the symptom is like perceived abandonment. So that doesn't mean, again, perceived. And like, as someone who has borderline, I know that it's perceived. And even when I didn't know that I had borderline, I knew that it was in my head. But that didn't change the fact that the amygdala was going crazy and kind of firing off on all systems. And so anytime I felt like the threat of, oh, you're gonna leave, even for like a short amount of time, because a thing about BPD is like there is less of, again, I'm not an expert, okay, so actually don't quote me on this, but I read that we have less object permanence, if that makes sense, where we're kind of like babies in our relationships, and that when you're like gone, it's kind of like, wait, where'd you go? Like, You're gone? What do
Come
you
back.
mean? And you kind of forget the facts or like the history. Like in that moment, that's all that the present is all that exists, which can be such like I don't know, a confusing situation or confusing environment to be in, because then like at the time, especially because we hadn't met each other, so our
Yeah.
friendship was also
Online.
born in that period where it wasn't cool and quirky to have a long distance friend. It was very much like you're kind of weird for having
Yeah,
an
like why would
internet.
you invest like that
Why is your
in someone
best
you've never
friend
met?
on the internet? Like, what if she's just an old man? Again, fair concern, totally fair concern. But even when it was very clear that Becca was like an actual person, people would still kind of give you the sense that you're kind of like weird, derogatory for.
It was definitely
being
like you were
online.
less than because your best friend was online and not some person you knew IRL.
Yeah. But now I also feel the need to say I had IRL friends. I
Me
swear.
too.
But it just so happens that like the person I connect with most is you. They were mind boggled by the fact that the person
what
that
do
we
you
cared
mean?
about the most, in a lot of instances, that's not necessarily true across the board, was you. And so I guess because of that feeling of insecurity, it was like if you were gone for a long period of time, it would really upset me because it would be like, hello, I guess you're gone now. And also, to be clear, during the earliest part of our friendship where we had started to get close, you were going through something pretty hard. And so
Yeah.
understandably, you took a lot of time away from the internet, except I didn't know why, and I didn't know, like, it was undefined.
I just kind of dipped.
You dipped. And so that was like a significant shift for me, where that was kind of like this instability that whenever afterwards, when you had come back and we had established that we were like really close, like anything that kind of brought me back to that feeling of uncertainty was like a point of panic. Yeah, it was magnified by that, because it was like, oh my God, it's going to happen again. So nowadays, I would say that I don't feel as bad about that. Like, it's like, if you're gone, then it sucks still, because I'm like, man, I miss you. But it's not like.
Right, but it's not like she'll never talk to me again.
Right. And like, there's still like that inkling of like fear, but it's not. Like a huge part of me healing has been really understanding that like my feelings aren't fact, they're valid, and they come from like a certain place in my body telling me like this is how, like, it's like a signal basically.
Yeah.
And it's coming from a place, but it doesn't mean that the feeling is objectively true. And even though in my head I knew that growing up, it took a very long time to like truly come to terms with that and be okay that the feeling is still there and temporary. So I think, yeah, it was a lot of insecurity on that part.
No, you're spot on. I think that's been the biggest. It's not like every individual situation was a huge conflict in that regard, but it was like hard for us to navigate early on. Sometimes it would evolve into a different kind of conflict depending on reactions or whatever.
Ooh, yeah.
Because we have like kind of a bad mix, I feel, where I get really defensive too. And it's I think that's pretty common in people in general, is that when we are called out for something, or when we maybe do something wrong, we have an instinct to defend ourselves and remove ourselves from that conflict. And so for a very long time, that was kind of how I reacted to conflict. And it's been something that's been a focal point for me to kind of not do that, especially as a conflict avoidant person. So it's like, not only are you trying to avoid, I'm gonna just whack myself. Not only are you trying to avoid conflicts, but you're also trying to like remove any fault from yourself.
Right.
In a conflict. And so I really struggled with that. And Mika would be like, it would just not be conducive to proper healing at all.
No, because it would be like, okay, but I'm not attacking you as a person. I didn't have the language at the time either, so
yeah,
I totally understand. It was hard. Nowadays, I would say that like we're both quicker at realizing when oh, I'm like projecting or
Yeah.
I'm getting defensive. And it's just a matter of like communicating, like, this made me feel like this particular action or this manner of saying things, like this turn of phrase. And we both kind of take that as it's not you, like the person that is the one harming or doing something bad or is bad. It's this particular thing, like instance. But yeah, we didn't have the tools at the time, so it was really hard.
We did not. And honestly, I think that because that would have been like the early 2010s, right?
Yeah.
I feel like there has been a huge push for understanding mental health and navigating relationships and just in social media in general and online, and YouTube has a lot of things about that, etc. It's just something that a lot of people wanted to be able to learn and navigate through, and it's important to a lot of people. And so I feel like we've been able to learn quite a bit about how to do that, which is great because I remember growing up, like I had friendships where I would feel an imbalance or I would not know how to communicate something, and it would kind of get brushed under the rug or excused, whether I was doing something wrong or whether someone else was doing it to me, because I'm sure it went both ways. And I feel like that contributed to this behavior of like just ignoring a problem, which doesn't allow for any growth, and it doesn't allow for any like the miscommunication and misunderstandings that come from that really take root and grow into like these really nasty things in your like heart and your soul and stuff. And so I feel like there's been a lot that through some of the conflict that we've had, even though it's been hard at times, has been really good for our growing as well as people.
Yeah. And I feel like if Madison and Barbie from My Scene Jammin in Jamaica had the resources that we have today, I think that they would have been able to communicate better in their particular conflict surrounding River, Barbie's boyfriend, and just that whole conflict. However, we wouldn't have the movie that we have today. So maybe it's okay that it's all right.
Fiction always needing conflict,
right? Yeah. So Jammin in Jamaica.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's dig into this. We can give like a little synopsis. Yeah, just so people who maybe aren't here for that know what's up.
Okay, so Jammin in Jamaica was a My Scene movie. My Scene was and is, I actually don't know if they're still around. I think they might be, but not in the way that we know them. Yeah. That sounded so like they were like eldritch creatures. they're not around the way. They're not around the way that we might have known them in years past. I don't know what that voice was. It was Barbie who was the main girl, obviously, because her name is Barbie. Not to be confused with Barbie Roberts. I'm pretty sure they're not the same.
They're not the same.
I have to
My Scene is its own world.
Yeah. So there's Barbie, and then there's Madison, who's her best friend. Then there's Noe, Asian rep. And then there's Chelsea. She's the redhead. Yeah. Loved her. And then there's Delancey, and I think there was another girl who was like added when I was coming out of that age group. So like I stopped paying attention. But yeah, so those were the girls who were part of My Scene Jammin in Jamaica. And essentially, it starts off with Barbie's boyfriend, River. He's the leader of a band, and his band is kind of managed by Madison, who is also a like singer-songwriter, and so she co-writes a lot of their songs with River. Side note, the music in this movie, bangers. Straight bangers.
Don't listen to My Scene Jammin in Jamaica soundtrack.
If anybody knows what that song was when they're going through a montage of them exploring Jamaica, somebody please tell me, because I have been trying to search for that song since basically the movie came out, but nobody has been able to find it. And I know I'm not the only one, because every time I go to the YouTube video, everybody in the comments is like, what is this song? I've been trying to find this song. And people are pretty sure that it was exclusively created for the movie, but I want to know for sure, because if I could wake up to that song every day, I think I would be healed as a person. Anyways, so like they go to Jamaica because they win this Battle of the Bands competition to participate then in a larger, more international Battle of the Bands, where they're able to then, if they win, the prize is that they get a recording deal with I forget, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name, but he's basically Simon Cowell, but not. Like
I
some
don't remember
huge,
what it was.
or maybe that was the Bratz movie. I think that was the Bratz movie, the Simon Cowell guy. But maybe this guy also was wearing a black shirt. I don't know. Anyways, there's like a huge producer that they're supposed to kind of win the heart of. And so they go, it's River and Madison and the rest of the band, but then Barbie and the other girls stay behind. And it's winter and they're like feeling massive FOMO. And Barbie in particular is kind of growing, I want to say like restless because River is understandably busy with a band, and so is Madison. And so when she calls them, it's not always like at the best times. So they're just, you know, it's like, not to bring The Office up again, but it's like when Jim and Pam were having their out of sync moments when they were long distance, like where they were just not meeting each other in the right moments. Like they were just in an off season. And so she like gets a little insecure about it, but rather than, I don't know, talking about it normally, she decides to fundraise with the girls to go to Jamaica, surprise the boys and Madison, and join them at Jamaica.
Girl. Barbie, what are you doing?
Like, can you imagine if that was in real life? I would die from embarrassment.
I would be like,
TBH.
You cannot be doing that. He's at work.
Yeah, he's at work, basically. And I mean, to be fair, at the time, like, I think her last phone call with them, they were talking, and then Madison got thrown into the pool by the boys, including River. And so Barbie was like, oh my God, what?
They're
like,
flirting?
Are they my best friend and my boyfriend are flirting? So I can understand why she was like feeling the way that she was. But again, I would make that a conversation and not necessarily like, I'm gonna immediately like
fly to Jamaica.
Right, but then without that, we wouldn't get the iconic stills of like her doing her little PowerPoint presentation.
Absolutely incredible.
They did like this whole like montage of the girls like convincing their parents, and we don't actually get to see the parents. It's like POV, you're the parents, and they're trying to convince you that going to Jamaica is the right thing to do. Actually, for context, I'm pretty sure they're in high school. I think maybe they're not in high school. They look they're in high school, but if not, early college or in between high school and college. But yeah, so then they go to Jamaica, and it like they go from fantasizing that they're gonna have like this group vacation hang where everything's gonna be great, they're gonna be at the beach every day, and then reality quickly sets in that like, no, like again, this is for work. They're trying to get a record deal. They're trying to work on their music. And so Barbie grows increasingly like, not frustrated, but I mean a little frustrated, but more like, what's the word? Like bummed, I guess. Like she's bummed that she can't hang out with her boyfriend, and then that her best friend gets to hang out with her boyfriend more because she manages the band. Like, just sorry.
There's one point where Barbie's like there's one point where Barbie's like to River, like, can't we hang out? I thought we were going to be able to do this and this, like, go to the beach or whatever. And he's like, he has to go talk to the people for the show or something with the band. And he's even like, do all of us have to be there? And it's like, yes, you do. And so he has to go. Yeah. Which like shows me that he like, of course he wants to accommodate for Barbie being there and like show her attention too. But it's like, she shouldn't be there in the first place. Yeah. She shouldn't even be there.
Right. Anyways. No, like, you're so right. It's very frustrating to watch. It was frustrating to watch even as a kid, but then the more that because for context, I rewatch this movie every time I feel under the weather. And so I've, like, I know it like the back of my hand. And then every time this happens, I'm like, Barbie, why? Like, I'm rooting for her, but I root for Madison more. I love Madison. Anyways, yeah, like, she doesn't seem to understand the sacrifice, I guess, that like River is trying so hard to like balance, like, okay, like my girlfriend's here and like we're gonna have a good time, but also this is my dream.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think it so happens that she comes across River and Madison. I don't want to give the movie away too for some reason, so I'm like, I'm not trying to like tell you all the beats, but I'm pretty sure the instance that you're referring to, they like at some point miss out or do something where their place in the competition is otherwise compromised. And River and Madison are understandably upset because they, like, honestly, they're the ones who've worked hardest for this competition. Yeah. Like, she's the one who writes the songs, she produces, she manages them. He's like the leader. Yeah. And so they're like upset and they like hug each other. And then Barbie like walks in on them hugging each other. And it's like, they are together. And like she like runs away. Oh, and so she runs away, and then River like completely abandons his like band duties because he's like, hello, where's my girlfriend? Like she's out here like just wandering in Jamaica. Like they're not, like they're from New York, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, so the whole band ends up, well, not the whole band, but like a good portion of them ends up looking for her, Madison like included. And then you get this scene where Barbie's on the beach and she's like,
I can visualize
it. You can see it, right? I can already see it. I can hear the music in my head where she looks down at her phone and she's like, this is back when, you know, phones weren't as they are now. I don't know how to explain. It's like almost like a BlackBerry, but not. Yeah. I don't even know if the kids know what a BlackBerry looks like now, but
non-smartphone.
Yeah, non-smartphone. So like think buttons. And so she's like
think buttons.
She is tactile buttons, and she trashes a bunch of photos of like her and Madison, of her and River. All of this, by the way, like she hasn't actually spoken to them either. So I'm kind of like, what are you doing? Again, because I have BPD, understandable that she was like that impulsive, not that smart of a move.
This is why you can retrieve things from the trash.
Yeah, and so she's like, yeah, she's putting all these photos in the trash and like just like crying, like it's like a single tear situation, while this really sad song is going on. Sad song is like, again, total, like all of the songs in this movie are hits, okay? Like I unironically listen to them because they're that good. I'll even link them in the description. They're so good.
In case you want to jam.
Yeah, in case you wanted to jam. Jamaica. I doubt that you do, but you know, just in case. And when River returns from like unsuccessfully trying to find Barbie, his band is pissed because they missed their audition, essentially. They miss the moment that they were supposed to go and win over this producer. I think his name is Russell. I think his name is Russell. And what ends up happening is Barbie and Madison, like Madison is the one who finds Barbie, and they have a heart-to-heart. And it becomes very clear that it's been a huge miscommunication, misunderstanding. And Madison admits that she was kind of keeping River to herself, not because she liked him, but because she, like, this is her dream. And, like, River and the band are, like, kind of her golden goose. And so she, like, apologizes for that. And then Barbie apologizes for not being able to trust them. And then they find out that, like, oh, no, we've dashed the band's chances. And so Barbie goes into overdrive and, like kind of works with the hotel people, everybody that they can, people that they met during their little fun vacation montage, to help throw this like bash on the beach so that they can like really showcase the band. And they invite everybody who is at like the competition, and lo and behold, everybody shows up because, I mean, why would you turn down a party? And guess who also shows up? The producer, who Barbie spoke to, because she was like, I have to now make up for what I've done. And so she convinces him to give them a chance, and they sound great, obviously. And again, banger as they finish the movie with a song. The dancing in this movie is really funny because they're just like flopping their limbs around because they have like really long limbs, like the animation and the style that they're drawn in, like huge long limbs, and so it's just kind of like them like doing that. Which I love. Every time I watch it, it's just like it's giving a little bit of Challengers when Zendaya is like dancing. Honestly, when I watched the movie with you, I was like, why does she kind of look like a My Scene girl right now?
So funny.
But yeah, basically that's the movie, and it's like really an interesting close look at how female friendship can be so fraught when you're young and when you don't communicate, because they didn't communicate. All of this could have been avoided if they simply communicated what they wanted, what they needed. And again, they're young, so like it makes sense, and we need a movie. Like we needed that. I needed that. What was
we needed the representation too of like how you can heal from that miscommunication.
Right, because Barbie did, I would say that she redeemed herself in the end. I also would say that going forward, I ship her with, I ship Madison and River more than I ship Barbie and River. I just think they have better chemistry. I don't think that she was like off base. I don't think Barbie was off base for being insecure about that. I think like their endgame. Sorry.
Madison was trying to be like a good friend when they had their conversation where she's like, no, he's like a brother to me. It's gross.
Yes, I remember.
And I'm like, all right.
I don't know about that. Yeah.
We need the sequel where it's like definitely further along in college years and like Barbie and River break up, and the conflict now is that Madison doesn't know if she's able to date him or not.
And then Barbie like gives her the go ahead.
Yeah, then she gets the green light because like she understands.
What would it be called though? Would they be back in Jamaica? Jammin in Jamaica again.
That would be incredible.
It'd be
the
Jam in Jamaica returns. Return of the
Jamaica Jam.
Yeah.
Return of the Jam in Jamaica.
What's your relationship to this movie?
My relationship?
Yeah.
So like I know for a fact that we owned a My Scene movie. I just don't think it was this one. I don't know what other ones exist.
Okay, so there's My Scene in Hollywood, I think is I don't remember the actual name for that one. And then there's another one, but the S tier one is Jammin in Jamaica.
Jammin in Jamaica. Yeah, I think I had a different one, and obviously I wasn't as attached to it as I was to my other Barbie movies or whatever else I had. But I watched Jammin in Jamaica with you, and I know it primarily because of you. So there's that. I love a good like video merchandise inspired cartoon movie. I think that they're so much fun. So this one's a good time. I actually went through the transcripts of the movie this morning, just to kind of reconnect a little bit since it's been a little while. And boy, it is, I like flashed back to all of the problems I have with that lack of communication. And like, I love Barbie, but girl,
get it together. Also, like, I love the subplot. You just reminded me. We didn't really touch on the subplot between Delancey and, oh my gosh, what's his name? Why am I forgetting? Ellis. Oh my god, Ellis. Okay, yeah. So Ellis is like the shy guitarist. Is he a bassist? Cute. I actually don't know. I think he might be the bassist. But he also provides backup vocals, and he sounds really good in the song.
Just in case you guys need to,
I don't know. Yeah, I think you guys should maybe like listen to the music, but yeah,
you should just watch the movie. Actually,
it's not that long. It's like 45 minutes.
40, yeah. It's like not even.
It's not a full length.
Not even a full episode of like primetime TV.
Right. That's why I would always watch it all the time. Anyway, so Ellis is like really into Delancey, and Delancey is Chelsea's cousin, and Delancey is very out there. Like she's got those chunky highlights from the 2000s. She's a surfer girl. She is very confident, And Ellis is like, I can't ask her out. She's too cool. And then throughout the movie, Delancey, like, all the girls are like, I think he's into you. And then Delancey's like, then he should ask me out. Because, like, I'm getting real sick and tired. Yeah. Again, down to communication. And so finally, at the end of the movie, he, like, gathers the courage to ask her out. And she says yes. And thank God. They're really cute together for, like, the 2 seconds that we had them.
We love to see that then as like a subplot, especially with all of because River and Barbie are established. So it's like, to see their conflicts, you're like, we need something feelsy and fun on the side. Yeah. So that's hard. While I was reading it, I was like, River to me, and maybe I need to rewatch it, because on paper, River seems to be like pretty chill as a boyfriend and trying to balance it well, and like he actually cares about Barbie a lot. But it does look a little different when you see him with Madison in certain ways.
Yeah, because I totally understand. Again, I can see why Barbie was
body language matters.
Body language matters, and that boy, I don't know, they were a little too close, but
I think Barbie he was acting up too.
Yeah, I think he yeah, that's the thing about this movie too. It's like good about its conflict because you can kind of see and understand where everybody is coming from. Yeah. I'm just a Madison girl. I had a Madison doll from this movie, and she was like my prized possession, and I sadly gave her away. And sometimes I go on Etsy just to look. Whoa. You sounded like you were Madison there. Wow, how dare you?
You need to get another one.
Yeah, I go on Etsy sometimes and I look up that particular doll. And Ayame from TikTok, if anybody's been following that love triangle, she recently made a reference to Madison from Jammin and Jamaica, and I was like, I knew I loved her. She is Madison. She has Madison energy in that she's very like confident. She knows what she's about. She's beautiful and gorgeous and incredibly talented, and we love her. And I don't care I do care who she chooses. It's Yvonne. I care about who she chooses so much. I don't care if it's a skit. I don't care. Like, it's the only way that I've been able to experience romance. Talk to your best friend, damn it. Like, just be honest. Trust your best friend. I think that there was a lack of trust there for sure. Like, Barbie should have been, I think, a little bit more open to the idea that she might have been wrong, that she like, and you know what, it's okay that she felt insecure. I think she should have just told Madison like, hey, I'm actually like feeling really like low right now, like I miss you. That's the other thing too, when you miss people, just tell them. Like, you don't need to be doing all of this without telling them. Just tell them you miss them and see what happens. If you're as tight as that, just saying like, I miss you, and I feel like we're growing apart, or like I feel like there's like distance between us, and I'd like us to like kind of work on that, it could go a long way, you know? Long enough that when you see your best friend being upset about something, hugging her coworker, your boyfriend, and a friend as well, that you might not immediately jump to, oh my God, they are together.
Are we okay?
I think we're okay.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. We're dealing with, could you guess, technical difficulties.
It's like part of our brand, apparently.
Apparently. By the way, like, I'm so sorry again for my camera quality before. My laptop's camera is bad. And I had to borrow my father's camera today, so hopefully that's a little better. But
hopefully it's a little clearer. Your camera, my lighting, you know.
We're just trying our best out here.
We just want to talk to you about Jammin and Jamaica.
That's all I want to do is talk about Jammin and Jamaica.
That's so much to ask.
Oh my God, like I literally have so much more to say, but we talked for so long that I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah, we can. Here's a thought. Talk with us more in the comments.
Please, tell me you've watched this movie, or if you like love a certain, like you said, merchandise directed DVD video.
Yes, like that is a very specific niche, genre, but it's also like really fun. So,
like Polly Pocket, anyone? Polly Pocket? Did you watch Pia, like her plot in that Polly Pocket movie where like they have the one mall that her dad is opening up? By the way, the mall propaganda in the 2000s, crazy. We recently
We love them
rewatched
all.
a little bit of Totally Spies. There's this one episode where it's like all pro malls, where like the villain is like trying to take down malls, and like everybody's like, how can he do this to us? And I'm like, it's not that serious. Like, anyways, yeah, so if you ever want to talk about more 2000s nostalgic cartoons like that, please obviously talk to us about it.
Yes. I think yours was Jammin in Jamaica, but mine was the Hot Wheels movie.
I have no idea what that is.
What is it called? It was a Hot Wheels movie where they all get teleported to this like crazy Hot Wheels racing track where it's like through a volcano or something, and they all have to race this like deadly race in Hot Wheels. It's very not great, but it was my childhood animated merchandise movie.
Okay, well, I need to watch that.
Yeah.
The Bionicle movies? Anybody?
Oh, Bionicle. I never watched that, but I do know what you're talking about.
Banger soundtrack as well. The overall takeaway from this episode is talk to your friends.
It is. Talk to your friends. Open communication. Conflict helps us grow when we're able to work through it.
And when you're on the same page, like, I think that the big part of Jammin and Jamaica and our own friendship is that when you approach conflict with somebody that you love, knowing that they love you, knowing that's your common ground, I think you're better off, like, knowing that you're on the same team, but you're approaching something differently. Versus, I am against this person entirely. And I think that that is something that I have had to learn the hard way. There are other reasons why you would stop being friends, but I think maintaining a healthy, good relationship like the one that we have is based on approaching conflict bravely, vulnerably, and with a lot of compassion for yourself and for the other person involved. So that's what we learned from Jammin in Jamaica.
Only from Jammin in Jamaica. In fact, it is the reason that we are here today as friends.
Yeah. Forget about all the other stuff. It was Jammin
everything else
Jamaica.
Doesn't matter. It's just Jammin
in Jamaica saved us. Okay. All right. Well, that was how we felt about each other and Jammin in Jamaica. Let us know how you feel in the comments, and we'll be back again to feel more all the things next week. Okay.
We'll see you then. Bye.